Do soulmates really exist, or are they just an idealistic notion? My answer would be yes to both, which I know sounds confusing, but hear me out. The most popular interpretation of a romantic soulmate is the partner who completely gets us, loves us unconditionally, just as we are, and always has our back. They make us feel happier about ourselves because of the way they see us. And now we're no longer lonely or feeling like something is missing. And I know this is how soulmates are viewed because it's a version I've heard from countless singles throughout the years. And I probably thought the same way myself a good many years ago. Until I found myself cynically rolling my eyes every time someone shared with me that they were looking for their soulmate. Because I've seen the pain and disappointment that that particular belief can cause again and again. It's a belief that often leads to unrealistic expectations that are impossible to meet, exerting pressure on the budding relationship from the get-go. So the initial honeymoon period, be it days, weeks, or even months, though never years, can fool us into believing that this is how it's always going to be. And occasionally that might be true. But for most couples it won't be true. And that's not a negative, because that's when the true nature of the relationship can begin to unfold. However, I also, though far more rarely, have come across folk who have been in a long-term relationship and who do describe their partner as their soulmate, despite having had issues as a couple. And so it got me thinking. And I realised that romantic soulmates have been largely misrepresented, mostly through books, TV programmes and films, because the popular version is big business. There's money to be made, including within the psychic arena, where soulmate readings are readily available 24 hours a day, it seems. And I thought about my own life experiences, and who I am today, who I've become. And I recognised how big a role relationships have played in that, both negatively and positively. And that's when I understood the true role of a romantic soulmate, which is to challenge the hell out of us. Which I know doesn't sound like an attractive proposition, but there is a lot more to it than that. And if you give me a chance, I will explain more. And yes, I know we'd all prefer the Moonlight and Roses version, but then we wouldn't have the opportunity to evolve, to discover our own potential for growth as a human soul. And this is the point at which I'll probably lose a chunk of any viewers I have. People who will be thinking, blah, 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 boring. Who cares about having to grow and evolve? I just want to be happy. So, if you are still here, I'm very grateful to you and I appreciate your staying power. And as you are still here, I'd love to hear your thoughts and beliefs about romantic soulmates and the experiences that have led you to those conclusions. So please share. And also, whilst we're on the subject, would you take a second to like this video and hopefully even subscribe? Like everyone else on YouTube, I am really keen to produce more food for thought content and create a like-minded community. And your help would be really appreciated. Anyway, where were we? Ah yes, the true role of a soulmate, in my opinion at least. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who can genuinely love and care for you in a way that touches your soul, but who can also deeply emotionally wound you, leaving you feeling raw, angry and lonely? I know I have. And you can flip that around. I've been the other person too, when pushed too far. Again, please share your experiences with us. Have you been on one or both sides of that particular fence? The truth is, we're all complicated messes deep down inside. Some a lot more than others, true. But all of us are the product of our past programming, our childhood influences, our repeated experiences, and the way in which we've perceived and processed all of that. And when two human souls enter into an emotionally intimate relationship together, which is equivalent to an unspoken, unsigned contract, they bring to the mix their individual histories, programming, and accumulated baggage. Expecting the merger to simply work out fine, with both being able to remain exactly as they were before they met, is highly optimistic and a little naive. On the positive side though, if a relationship can survive beyond the honeymoon period and remain intact, because those involved are choosing to still be together, and not just because of a fear of being alone, then they've made it past the first hurdle. Many newbie couples don't. It's a good start. A true soulmate, I believe, is one who instigates change within us, not one who doesn't, or one who consistently brings out the worst in us. A true soulmate will, and make no bones about it, sometimes drive us to the edge of insanity, causing us to fantasize about throttling them, and I'm not advocating that, by the way, whilst also being sure we don't want to be without them. We will yearn to be on our own sometimes, to be free of the responsibility of being in the relationship and of the compromise required, but not permanently. And I can say with hand on heart that my partner of almost 20 years has brought out the very worst in me and the very best. Not consciously and deliberately, of course, but just by being in the same space and sharing a life. I think I'm a much grown person as a result of the experience, and I can definitely see that he has changed too in positive ways. A lot of the old pain that drove him and the destructive ways of reacting to life have healed or are in the process of healing. And he likes himself more now, which is a highly productive consequence of the journey we've shared together. We are still us individually. Our authentic traits, interests, talents, and annoying ways are still present. But it's been a hell of a journey, I can tell you. There have been tears, rages, and silences. And there have also been a lot of laughs, shared experiences, joint achievements, and friendship. But you know, all of the relationships that have gone before have played their roles in changing me in their own ways. I needed to grow up and become more emotionally mature, especially in my first marriage. That included learning how to accept accountability when I was wrong, rather than being defensive or reactive. On the other hand, I also needed to learn that I do not have to put up with endlessly selfish and childish behaviour in a partner, something that eventually kills all love and desire. I've had relationships that have taught me, painfully and over too long a period of time, the importance of setting firm boundaries and then maintaining them against all opposition and resistance. And that can take years of practice for some of us. If a person persistently pushes against their partner's boundaries, refusing to compromise, they don't love them, no matter what they insist. They're what we could call dark soulmates, I suppose. They're offering an unwitting but valuable opportunity for growth, but very little else. It's a highly painful but effective opportunity for a human soul to come to recognise their own worth and, once having done so, refuse to sacrifice it on the altar of another's ego. Because, you see, the biggest challenge we human souls face, first and foremost, is learning to accept and live with ourselves. And we tend to do this through our relationships with others, especially romantic relationships. So the second biggest challenge is learning to live productively alongside other human souls without becoming completely broken in the process. We are wired to seek out companionship, acceptance, and love, but those three often don't come hand in hand. Otherwise, life and love would be really easy. And just consider this for a moment. Isn't it true that it tends to be the challenging times that force us to stop and think, to reflect, to be resourceful, to dig deep for an answer, to find a burst of strength? The good times are wonderful and we need them. Relationships can't survive healthily without them. but we don't tend to grow or change through the good times, and that's because we don't need to. However, what we can do is heal, which is vitally important. So, laying it out, soulmates do exist. In my opinion, all relationships can teach us something about ourselves and about what we shouldn't accept. But there is a difference between a destructive, soul-destroying relationship and one that brings challenges but also genuine love and opportunity for growth. A partner who is unpredictable, who mentally and emotionally crushes us, only to reel us back in with love bombing when they recognise they've pushed too hard, causing us to relax a little and heal, only then to tear the scab off and deepen the wound again, is not your soulmate. They are your soul enemy if you remain in a relationship with them. We all know deep down inside when a situation is really wrong, even though we may pretend otherwise. I've heard lost souls describing screwed up monsters as their soulmate, when in actual fact they are their jailer. In reality, we do know when a situation is beyond repair, but we just might not be ready to accept it. Conversely, just because a relationship has its ups and downs doesn't automatically mean it's a bad one or without hope. If, despite our partners sometimes driving us to the edge of distraction and probably vice versa, we still genuinely want to remain with them once the angry dust has settled, because there are enough good, loving times. And if we can see that there is genuine progression going on, it's probably a relationship worth investing in. If we can recognise over time that both of us are learning, growing and healing as a result of being together, we could consider ourselves to be mates with each other's souls. So therefore, soulmates. But please remember that comparing our experiences with those of others is not helpful to us. We are each on our own trajectory. You might have to engage in many romantic liaisons before aligning with a relationship in which you can both genuinely evolve over time and with patience, forgiveness, and a good sense of humour. So don't despair if you've had several relationships but are still single whilst not wanting to be. You're getting closer with every experience, I promise. Unless, of course, you are blindly repeating old patterns and learning nothing from it all. That does happen. So let's lay to bed the belief in the fantasy of a fairy tale romance between two starry-eyed soulmates who are destined to be together. It's a pleasant daydream, but it's not a reality. Relationships are complex machines and are highly spiritual quests, even though they don't tend to feel that way. And if you are still with me here now at the end of this video, thank you. I hope you are leaving with a little bit of food for thought, and I also hope you visit with me again very soon. Bye.